It's time for Screen Junkies Movie Fights.
God bless America, everybody. Happy July 5th. We are still partying it down for making America's birthday, taking it to the next day. Hope you had a great 4th of July in America and around the world. Welcome to Movie Fights. We have an awesome group of competitors here. Yeah, it's going to be a real star-spangled edition. First, you know this guy's one of the writers of Honest Trailers. You know him from SJ News. And he says he's got one of the dumbest things he's ever undertaken coming out, going to be dropping on the internet shortly.
It's coming soon. Follow me on Twitter. Keep up.
Oh, hell yeah. Joe STARR.
What's up, pal?
What's up? Good to see you, buddy. Next to Joe, this gentleman is one of the co-hosts of the Nerdificent podcast. You can check out his hilarious comedy album, Community College Dropout. That is available online. And he's an all-around swell guy. Welcome, NWADIWE.
Feeling well. How you doing, everybody?
Good to see you, buddy. Where can they find your comedy album?
Oh, anywhere you could get albums. You could get it on iTunes. You could get it on Spotify. You can get it on Tidal. Yep, I've pushed for that.
Doozer.
And it's on Tidal.
Nice.
Columbia House, you can tape a penny and send it in.
Yeah. You'll get all of our albums.
That's a deep cut 80s, 90s reference to Columbia House. On the end, you know this very funny man. He's America's favorite schmo. And if you're going to be at Comic-Con Friday night, 10 p.m. at the American Comedy Company in the Gaslamp District, mark headlines with special guests like Joe STARR. It's hosted by Ken Napzok and Josh McCouga. Check that out and go to markellislive.com, promo code schmoes.
Oh, how's a mouthful, and you just knocked it so far out of the park.
You wrote it down perfectly for me, Mark.
Oh, man. Thank you, JT, my assistant, for writing that down in big block lettering, just like I taught him. Yeah, Comic-Con's going to be a whole lot of fun. See you guys doing some stand-up there. I love the setup here today because you look like the owner of the Texans, Bob McNair, and Joe looks like your punk-ass son who doesn't really like his dad, but still wants to support America.
At least he's wearing the colors.
I look like Rocky's shittiest son.
Like, my boy hates fishing, but he's gonna wear the stars and stripes.
Whatever, Dad.
Today's movie fights will be decided by 3 judges, myself, Dan Merle, and Danielle Radford, who is the conduit of the people. Let's go to the Dan Cam. Dan, come on, buddy.
I would like to join you particularly in hoping that our international viewers had a fantastic July 4th.
Heck yeah, July 4th it up, international viewers.
Around the world.
You know, I mean, just like for them, it was just Wednesday.
I hope you had a great Wednesday.
For sure.
Outside of the United States.
Yeah, I'm not, everyone can have a great Wednesday.
As far as I know, Independence Day is no longer just an American holiday, but the day the world said in one collective voice, we will not go quietly into the night.
Thank you, Bill Pullman. Danielle Radford, tell us what you're up to over there.
Hi. So today is going to be another one of those days where I have to have my own opinion. I don't
You
like
gotta
it.
wake up!
So I thought you were going to Limp Bizkit.
It's just one of those days. Also, I wish you guys could see a full body shot of Joe STARR. I'm very excited when you get to see it later.
Not even specifically for now, just in general.
Just
in
always.
general.
Hot as fuck.
But yeah, so today is one of those days where I have my own opinions. If there is fact checking that I need to help with, I can. For example, before the show, we had a whole debate about who did the White Man Can't Jump theme song. I said it was Boyz II Men. It is actually a group no one has ever heard of called Riff. Boyz II Men did Simpin' Ain't Easy.
Man, I love Riff.
Simpin' Ain't Easy.
I love Riff, man. Yeah. You know, they got that hit song, doo-doo. You know? Doo-doo.
What was the course of that?
Oh, doo-doo.
Iffy, thank you for that deep cut. Just a reminder on how our game works. The first fighter to get 4 points wins. We have 3 regular round questions, and then we hit the speed round. And if someone's up 3-0 going in the speed round, still anybody's game because you can come back in that speed round. We got tiebreakers and all that good stuff. Fellas, you ready to mix it up?
Let's fight a little.
JTE, drop that sick-ass package.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's main event time.
Nicely done. JTE, best package in the biz.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I always remember that. Every time I see that, it's like that was illegal in tournament karate matches. You can't kick anyone in the face.
What about in the All Valley Karate?
Yeah, the
That's
Valley, it's a
probably-
different set of rules out there in
It's
Racine.
probably the same. You can't
all
just
right.
kick someone.
Here
Can't use your
is
heel. It's really frustrating.
here is the first question of the regular round. What movie character? Not that it needs replacement, but what movie character
She's a
should
pretty lady.
replace the Statue of Liberty? What movie character should replace the Statue of Liberty? Let's say, like, she was going to retire or something.
Let's say like four
yeah.
guys covered her in pink ooze and walked her around the city, and then
And
she came
something's gotta
back,
step up.
started rusting. I think we are due for a new Lady Liberty.
There you go. We'll start with Joe Starr.
There was one movie character that came to mind for me when trying to decide who should replace the Statue of Liberty. And I've heard that he's a bad mother, shut your mouth. Hey, I'm talking about Shaft, John Shaft. There's the man.
Shaft.
This is a guy who will do anything for his brother and anything for his community. And I think he would make a pretty slick looking, dare I say, sexy, cool Statue of Liberty. John Shaft. Shut your mouth.
All right, John Shaft, the Richard Roundtree original.
We're not
Thank
going
you.
the Sam Jackson shaft, or
No.
we're just
No, we're
counting
not.
Richard Roundtree? Okay.
Shut your mouth, Mark.
Hey,
Iffy.
my duty to get with that booty.
I took this into consideration because I think about what do I think about when I see the Statue of Liberty. There has to be some welcoming, ready to defend. Like I always looked at the Statue of Liberty growing up, like, oh, she'll come to life if she has to protect us.
That's right.
And destroy us, and that's why my pick is Ripley from Alien, just because she has the strength and beauty that I think we should be seeing from the distance and taking pictures in front of with our families. And also, I felt like we need to, I don't want to, mix it up too much. I want to leave it as a woman. I don't want to take away one more thing from women.
Okay.
I didn't see that as an opportunity to snatch one more thing for women in this climate. No, thank you. Who's your pick?
All right, Iffy, pro women, pro Ripley. Mark.
My pick is Newt, who Ripley adopted. No, my pick is somebody who represents the best of America and indeed the world, because let's not forget, the Statue of Liberty was a president from our good friends in France. The Statue of Liberty, it's an American symbol, but I think that it's a symbol to the world as well. Hey, you can come here and you can be safe, and nobody represents the interests of Earth, the world, and America better than somebody who is spirited in commerce, who had a background in warmongering, but turned his life around for the betterment of humanity, and that is Tony Stark. Tony Stark should be the new Statue of Liberty. Tony Stark is somebody who became a superhero Iron Man, and he learned a moral core value along the way, and that is that we need to protect not just Americans, not just people who may have the same citizenship as us, but people all around the world who can't defend themselves. That's the spirit of the Statue of Liberty, and that's the spirit of Tony Stark. Really all the Avengers, but you can just change that A on his tower to be America, and indeed a symbol for all the world.
All right, Mark Ellis getting pretty rah-rah there. Let's mix it up, everybody.
You guys know who hates Tony Stark aside from Avengers fans? Everyone else in the world, including this country. Every time Tony Stark comes around, hey, Tony, you killed my son. Hey, Tony, you dropped Sokovia out of the sky. Tony Stark is the worst possible symbol for the Statue of Liberty.
Also, you had a
you're
choice.
sending bad signals, Mark Ellis.
You had the choice of picking the most American Avenger, and you were like, nah, I'm going to go with Elon Musk.
I'm going to go with goatee of the week. Okay.
Bravely going into the future where you guys could not get your pea brains around the fact that, oh yeah, Shaft is a nice representative of New York, and Ellen Ripley, why would you have her be the statue when she never spends any time on Earth? She's literally going to other galaxies because she'd rather be anywhere else than the United States of America.
America's in the heart, for one thing, Mark
And
Ellis.
that's
America is where I take her.
Tony
okay?
Stark's heart
And
is
she
in the
took her-
future.
She took the
No,
United
yeah,
States
yeah.
of America
Yeah.
on board a space freighter
Yep.
and fought an alien.
Exactly.
God bless
And
America.
she lost
Well,
repeatedly.
As to Shaft, if I may,
Yeah.
as to Shaft just being representation of New
I
York.
just want to let you know that you are heavily defending Iffy's choice, not your own.
No, I'm pulling a Dan and Spencer and just double
Okay,
teaming
do
on
your
Mark.
thing. Do your thing.
Look, here's the thing. Yes, Shaft is a strong representation of New York, but New York's the gateway, man. New York's the melting pot. That's what it's all about. And furthermore, this is a man who's all about his community. I think everyone could stand up and be a Shaft for their individual community. What are we if not a collection of melting pot communities? Also, here's the thing with Ripley. It's a little aggressive. It's a little violent. I might, she is the statue. She's got the flamethrower. That's a weird thing to roll up to. Whereas when you roll up to the John Shaft Statue of Liberty, what do you hear? When you're on that boat and you're looking inspired, and then you just start to hear bum bum bum.
Okay, so now this is a musical statue. The statue has music. Yeah.
Oh
okay.
yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Let me ask you one thing.
How dope is your trip to America now that the Shaft music is playing?
Let me.
Everyone at the Port Authority is real chill now. Because that Isaac Hayes is pumping.
Yeah,
it's just a completely different experience.
Well, I got one question for you because you came at the flamethrower. Let me ask you: Is the Statue of Liberty the first thing you see when you go into Canada, or is it the first thing you see when you come into America? Because here in America, I think we're all about flamethrowers. I think a whole bunch of people spent way too much money on flamethrowers from Elon Musk. And
we're also about plasma beams. We're also about rocket packs.
Yep.
We're also about the future of technology. That's why Tony Stark is
a better choice than Ellen Ripley.
Future of America.
No, not at all. Not at all. See, Ellen Ripley, once again, just aside from the fact that you guys are trying to rip one more thing from women, this is
just because Tony Stark doesn't have a vagina doesn't mean that he's not a well-placed replacement for the Statue of Liberty. He looks great in a toga as well. Robert Downey Jr. has probably worn a toga at some point in his life.
He's probably peed in one from being way too drunk. It's not a good role model. Whereas, look, Shaft is taking down drug dealers. He's taking down corporate greed. That's the America I want to go into.
This is drug dealers and this is aliens. Yes, she isn't in America much because that's the sacrifice that she's willing to make to protect not only the country but the world.
But she's also an unwilling pond of a corporate entity.
Yeah, but that's super American.
The best case for Ellen Ripley is that she gets impregnated by an alien, and then she makes it back to Earth somehow, and then we have xenomorphs all over the place. So unless you want the Statue of Liberty, Hal, to be a xenomorph, then I think you stay away from the Aliens franchise. And as far as Shaft goes, it's a cute local story. It's nice in your local gazette.
It's international. He went to Africa in his third movie. Thank you. He's a globetrotter.
Best representative of how America is a freedom binge rocket ship for the rest of the world. You can come here and Tony Stark, my character's failures are public. Unlike Shaft and unlike Ellen Ripley. Why? Because Ellen Ripley failed in space, so they just disavow anything she's ever done. And Richard Roundtree is Shaft. I'm sure he's done bad things in his life, but nobody cares. Why? Because nobody cares about Shaft the same way they care about the MCU. You cannot deny how popular of a character Tony Stark is. He is worlds more popular than either one of these two.
Use this as your final thoughts here.
It's all about popularity. America is all about commerce, and it's all about learning from your mistakes and doing the right thing with technology, something that neither of these other two examples have any of.
Joe, go ahead and put a button on your argument.
Look, Logan Paul's popular, but I don't want him representing us, in that harbor. That's not a good look.
How dare you LP me?
Tony Stark is a guy living in a mansion in Malibu, whereas John Shaft is a blue-collar man of the people. You say you can't recognize John Shaft from a sea of Americans? Good. That's the symbol that I want up there. Just a cool as hell, looks good in a leather jacket. Could be you, could be me, could be Hal in that hat. Just welcoming you to America in the chillest way possible.
Thank you, Joe. Iffy.
Look, I'm going to just say it like this. Ellen Ripley touches on all the cornerstones of America. We got corporate greed, and we got someone seeking asylum, like the xenomorphs, who you, with your weird right-leaning rhetoric, saying all these xenomorphs running around.
I don't want these xenos taking over my state.
I'm pro xenos, and I think we need to fight for xenos to make it in here.
Hal. We can't have two mouths to feed.
They took my...
But not only that, she represents the love for weapons, and you're saying that she isn't about technology when most of her life is in a spaceship. She is more pro-technology.
Question, is there a xenomorph as part of the statue?
I imagine she's holding a flamethrower in one arm and a baby Xeno in the other, and it says, "Give me your poor, give me your hungry,
your two
and give me your
time."
aliens."
All right. Wow. Okay. What a battle. What a throwdown. Dan Murrell, factualities?
None.
Great.
Xenomorphs do in fact have two mouths.
Oh, man.
Look, not everything is as easy as who wrote the White Men Can't Jump theme.
Yeah, I wish that had come up.
I thought it was
argument.
Adina Howard, so I know.
Three vastly different
we will talk
characters here, and strong arguments across the board. Joe, inspiring with just playing the everyman card of Shaft, representing American values and dreams. But is he more just a New York character? Does he have the appeal? Ripley, the strength, the beauty, the femininity. Tony Stark, the corporate greed, but turning his life around. You know what? I gotta say, Mark, when you said Freedom Binge rocket ship, and I don't even know what that combination of words means, but it inspired me, and I gave you the point. But then I pulled it back, and Iffy putting that xenomorph in the statue and just tying everything together with a flamethrower, that is an image that I will never take out of my head. I will never lose. Iffy, you get my point.
Thank you.
Dan.
This is very difficult. This fight went many ways. I at one point gave everyone at that table the point.
Yep.
He's just looking at pictures of
I'm just looking at
Shaft.
pictures of Shaft right now. The character.
Be careful when you Google Shaft.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm very pleasantly surprised at Google right now.
I got locked out of my work computer.
I cannot. I agree that it is important for America to be open and welcome, but I don't know if I can endorse a 100% pro-xenomorph agenda. I just feel like you're opening the floodgates to very destructive alien life forms.
You're also opening people's chests
You're
to
opening
very
people's
destructive.
chests.
That's
If
true.
there had been an evidence in previous alien movies, some xenomorphs that were coming in to start a business on different planets or to become part of the local culture, that I could give you the benefit of the doubt. But I've only seen horrible, destructive xenomorphs. So I had to go
slobber all over
between.
their suit.
I had to go between Joe.
That's just mainstream media. Just,
Maybe so.
just
Maybe I'm
the
being
slang.
hoodwinked by the mainstream media. I don't know. I had to go between Joe and Mark, and I think that Tony Stark, while he does stand up for many of what's great about America, also exemplifies the destructive tendencies. So I'm going to have to go with the Crusader, John Shaft, and my point goes to Joe.
All right, that's 1 point for it's one vote for Joe. Danielle Radford.
Man, yeah, this was, I definitely, as amazing as Ripley would be on there, maybe I am also a victim of mainstream media in the way that they represent xenomorphs, but it's just I can't have a country of chestbursters. Unfortunately, Iffy, that knocked me out, although you did have some really great arguments. And the argument that Joe had about how Logan Paul is also popular, but he doesn't necessarily belong on the Statue of Liberty was one of the ones that got me along when he said everyone else hates Tony, and people just Alfre Woodard did just run up on him and was like, hey, sun death. So because of that, I have to go with Joe.
Joe Starr gets the point.
Is that his one Logan Paul usage for the rest of the day?
Yes.
My one.
He played his Logan Paul
my
card
one.
early today.
Yeah, on my bingo, Logan Paul'd, and now we're waiting for a Golden Child reference. So,
All right,
yeah.
Joe is ahead 1-0 going into question number 2. All right, damn it. In honor of 4th of July, here's another patriotic question. What's the most kick-ass patriotic movie of all time? What is the most action-packed patriotic movie? Okay, this question on my paper says kick-ass. This one says action-packed. So, kick-ass action-packed movie of all time. And we're going to start with player number 2, Iffy.
All right, so, it's very easy to pick a movie that, puts America versus another country or in some way, shape, or form. But usually the most kick-ass patriotic movies are the ones where we pretend to be humble, include all other countries, but then America kicks the most ass, which is why I'm going with Pacific Rim. So you have all the countries come together with their Jaegers, and they're stepping up to the plate to stop this force that no one else seems to stop. And guess who saves the day? The Americans. And what's more American than a white dude with his beautiful Asian girlfriend, maybe? You know, let's go right out the gate. That's what I'm talking about. We got big bad monsters, and we use a boat as a bat. And that's when I stood up in the theater and clapped, and they said, "Sir, can you sit down? You smell too much like the wacky tobacco."
All right, Iffy burned one and watched Pacific Rim. Mark Ellis, what do you like?
We want kick-ass, we want action-packed, and you look no further than the best movie to watch on the 4th of July, or really any other holiday, or really on any other day of the week, and that is Rocky IV. Because Rocky IV has boatloads of great action when you look at all the in-the-ring things going on between Apollo Creed and Ivan Drago, and then Rocky Balboa and Ivan Drago. And if that wasn't enough, you want kick-ass, patriotic action, you also have not one, not two, three sports training montages that go on throughout the entire movie. None of my competitors are going to offer you maybe even one sports training montage. There's tons of weightlifting and running and practicing in the gym. There's even beach frolicking from other Rocky movies. That's right. They took all the action and all the Rocky franchise up to that point, and they combined it into one small training sequence in a movie that is filled start to finish with great action. This is the movie that kicks the most ass, it has the most action, and by the way, it ended the Cold War. The Cold War, why was it a boring war? Because there was no action, and Rocky IV said, put up or shut up. Poo or get off the toilet, Cold War, and Rocky IV, with all its action, ended that dry spell.
All right, I know Mark Ellis always loves some good beach frolicking. Joe?
He absolutely does, and God bless you for it, Mark. Again, I appreciate you guys are here. I'm going to take it down a little bit. My movie is about, it's a simple film. It's about an immigrant that comes to this country to follow his American dream, which is opening up a market in New York City, his own grocery store, and he runs afoul of a multicultural gang, which his nephew comes into town and helps him defend. I'm talking, of course, about Jackie Chan's Rumble in the Bronx. This movie, start to finish, is not only just action-packed, but just patriotic as hell. You've got this guy living the American dream. This is a guy, Jackie comes in, he's like, hey, you ready to meet your aunt? And he's like, yeah. And he walks up to another Chinese lady, he's like, I'm so happy to meet you. And he's like, nope, that's not your aunt. And his new aunt is this black woman, and he's a little stunned, and his uncle's like, no, man, welcome to America. She's a great woman. This is another just great melting pot immigrant story. And look, I gotta tell you, on the action front, man, I know that Sylvester Stallone sure does punch a whole bunch, and good for boxing, but Jackie Chan fights dudes with his whole body and everything that's around him, the shirt off his back, the hammer on the ground, a box of cereal. Jackie Chan kicks so much ass. This movie runs circles around Rocky IV. And it's also not just a bunch of computer graphics.
Oh man,
Fight it out, y'all.
I mean, that's cute. I like, the cereal boxes and all that. I imagine that looked real cool when that came out in the 90s or whatever. But I'm talking about using a boat as a bat,
which will look like garbage in 5 years.
Oh man, but right now it looks tight. Right now at this moment that we're talking into these mics, it looks tight. Right now, Rumble in the Bronx, we're like, okay.
Still looks cool as hell.
It's like, I mean, we got stuff like Enter the Badlands, and we got other high-tech kung fu movies. Jackie Chan is the GOAT. Don't get me wrong. He is truly the GOAT, but he's not hitting people with a boat. So
he's the GOAT, but there's no competition in Rumble in the Bronx. It's basically Jackie Chan shows up and he just beats up a bunch of no-names, where Rocky is going up against another great opponent. They're throwing punches back and forth. Plus you have Apollo Creed. Plus you have Brigitte Nielsen, very intimidating. Plus you have training sequences involving all of these characters. And whereas Pacific Rim is a lot of dull, slow lumbering, let me just slowly walk up to you, let me take my, hang on, you can go pee and get popcorn and come back and I'll still be walking towards a kaiju. And by the way, why are kaijus allowed into this country in the first place? Because Iffy made the Statue of Liberty Ellen Ripley.
Well, look, let me tell you something. It might be slow and lumbering, but that's called realism. One thing your franchise knows nothing about. You saw the robot that your franchise produced. Trash.
We had a great 80s futuristic robot in Rocky IV. Thank you
badass robot.
There is nothing patriotic about an American robot sitting on the sidelines while everyone else gets their asses kicked on his behalf and then running in and going, I'll save the day! That sucks. And Mark, I'm glad that you think inspirational jogging constitutes action. Let me tell you about Jackie Chan's jogging scene in Rumble in the Bronx. He's being chased for his life in a parking garage, and by the way, he doesn't spend this movie kicking everyone's ass. He spends a lot of it on it, just like Rocky does in Rocky IV. He gets chased by a dirt bike gang through a parking garage, just getting his ass beat, running for his life. It's an awesome sequence, doing his own stunts, no wires, no safety net, no, look, man, he's the dude. He's the dude.
Sylvester Stallone, if you think it's exciting to beat people up with your jacket or a cereal box or an ordinary household appliance, watch Sly Stallone work out in a barn and juxtapose it with Ivan Drago working out in a futuristic gym facility complete with steroids, and Jackie Chan getting to jog and get his ass beat on level ground. That's a walk in the park compared to Rocky Balboa, who single-handedly climbed a 10,000-foot mountain. That's not jogging. He climbed a 10,000-foot mountain in one afternoon, got up there, yelled Drago, inspired us all. Oh, and by the way, after that scene, then we get one of the most epic boxing clashes in history. It was so epic. It was held on Christmas Day, and it was unsanctioned.
I think we're finding out more just about your internet kinks than we are about an action-packed movie. You just like watching dudes work out. I get it. It's cool.
You can rewatch Kick-Ass over and over and over again, and the most kick-ass movie. We're not asking for patriotism here, Hal. We're not asking for it. My movie just offers that as icing on the cake of kick-ass action.
Rumble in the Bronx isn't also just fighting. There's badass vehicle sequences. He does this amazing like water ski chase. There's speedboats at the end, which blows the face off one completely out of the water. So there, you've got your kung fu, you've got your vehicle stunts, you've got there's a dirt bike race down an alley where he's like outrunning the gang from Fast and the Furious, basically, just on foot. You've got a huge variety of action as opposed to just these weird little lumbering mechs with Charlie Hunnam still learning how to walk. Has anyone noticed that Charlie Hunnam like has a really different weird walk in every movie? Like he still hasn't figured out how to do it.
Yeah, I think
he does. Watch for it.
I think one thing that we keep forgetting when we constitute what makes Kick-Ass are the stakes. And what are the stakes in your two movies? What, you lose a boxing match and then we're sad? Apollo Creed is still dead. A black man still died in that movie and he doesn't come back to life just because some white dude from the Bronx beats a Russian. As a matter of fact, I heard Putin watches that every night, and that's what fuels him to be as strong as he is right now.
Putin turns it off at the 11th round.
Putin watches it every night. That's what fuels him. It gives him the energy, to be Putin.
On a horse, on the back of a horse.
That's my take on Rocky IV. In your case, what if Jackie moved? What if Jackie Chan would have just moved to LA where it would have been way more chill? Boom, movie over. Pacific Rim, they had nothing left to do
because he's
but
not gonna
fight.
Walk away from
they
his
had
family.
Nothing left to do but to pull themselves up by their robotic bootstraps, go underwater. In Pentecost, he went down there and he was like, look, you're gonna have to go down there, you're gonna have to fight these kaiju, you're gonna have to do this. And I believed him. When he did that speech in front of all those robots and humans, I was there. And I was like, this is what America's all about. Huge speeches.
If you use this as your final thoughts. Anything else?
Yeah. Look, what makes a patriotic movie is big stakes, big battles, and huge speeches. Like said movie, Independence Day. Unlike Rocky or Rumble in the Bronx. You can't have an epic, big old, nasty, badass patriotic movie if there's not those two things, epic fights and big speeches. Your movies have neither.
Thank you, Iffy. Mark?
My movie is nothing but big speeches and epic fights. It's literally Rocky IV, but I also have a bunch of training sequences in there that do involve vehicles of the future. At the time, Rocky's driving a Lamborghini. He's looking in the rearview mirror, thinking about his past. He's thinking about his future.
But is he fighting a dude on top of it?
Action-packed, and then he fights people in the end of the movie. And you talk about stakes, Hal. I think that when we're looking at kick-ass movies that are action-packed, you want something to fight for. With Rumble in the Bronx, it's just one guy getting his ass beat in the Bronx, and with Pacific Rim, it's this dystopian future, and you never really emotionally connect to any of the characters as they're slowly, boringly lumbering across to these equally boring and slow, lumbering, huge monsters. Rocky IV packs the most punch. There's definitely the most punches thrown in Rocky IV, and Rocky IV actually means something to people. These movies came and went, and Rocky IV has stayed in the public zeitgeist, the public lexicon, more than anything else. Why? Because it's got the most action and it kicks the most ass.
All right, Joe, give us your final thought.
I mean, look, if you want to do a punch count, 4 minutes into Rumble in the Bronx, Jackie Chan works out on a practice dummy and throws more hand strikes than Rocky does in that entire movie in about 30 seconds. Look, this movie has fantastic stakes. It's about family. It's about keeping this new family's anchor, their business, alive. It's got big chase sequences. It's got smaller fights. It's got a big ridiculous soundtrack. Jackie Chan's the greatest of all time in terms of choreographing fights, because not only are they badass and you're invested in how cool they are, but you're also he's also so good at selling pain, and I think that's another key on what makes a good action movie. I think that's how you get into the guy's head. That's why we love John McClane, because we saw the pain in his face when he's picking the glass out. That's why John McClane didn't work out later on when he became a Superman. Everything Jackie Chan does affects him, and if you want speeches, it's not the longest speech in the world, but after he beats the crap out of the bad guy gang in their own hideout, it looks like the weird Foot Clan gang hideout from the first Ninja Turtles movie. It's ridiculous. It's great. He beats the crap out of all these dudes and then just says, when we meet again, I hope we won't be fighting each other. And I think that's that's patriotic as hell. That's optimistic. That's American optimism right there. Rumble in the Bronx.
All right, time. Dan Merle, give us some facts and please weigh in with your...
Well, Mark referenced Rocky IV single-handedly ending the Cold War. Rocky IV was released in November of 1985. The Cold War did not officially end until 1991.
It's the tipping point, Dan.
People say that it started at the beginning of the end a couple years earlier in summer 1989. Either way, historically, Rocky IV not acknowledged as the singular event that brought the Cold War to a
Not yet.
close.
History's written by the winners.
Maybe so.
Hopefully Creed wins in Creed 2.
Yeah,
we'll
the
see.
Cold War hinges on Creed 2.
We'll see what history has to say about Rocky IV. Other than that, I looked up the elevation on the mountain that Rocky ran up, and 10,000 feet actually. It was filmed in the Grand Tetons in Wyoming, and the highest peak is 13,000 feet. So that actually checks out as far as the elevation potentially goes. I don't know exactly.
I
what
rounded
mountain,
down to
but-
make it a fair fight.
Yeah.
Wow.
They could have used a different mountain, but absent the specific information, I have to give Mark a check mark on the elevation for Rocky's mountain run.
All right.
So,
Like you
On
too.
the Grand Tetons. Give us your thoughts on the battle, please.
oh, wow. Well, I'm awful glad that Joe liked Rumble in the Bronx, but it's between Effie and Mark for me. And I think that it was back and forth between Iffy and Mark, but Iffy opened a door that Mark then wisely and smartly stepped through, and Iffy said, "You can't have a patriotic movie without epic fights and big speeches."
Yep.
And Mark correctly pointed out that Rocky IV is nothing but epic fights and big speeches. I gotta go with Mark.
All right, that's one for Mark. That's one for Mark Ellis. The epic fights and big speech rule. Daniel Radford.
Oh man, I hate when I have to say I agree, but I completely agree. Although the whole thing about how the bat boat's gonna look like garbage, but the really all the arguments about like having something to fight for and having that emotional connection got me. And then that little zinger about the epic battles and speeches really got me, Mark. So I got to go with Mark.
Mark Ellis, taking the point. There you go. It is 1-1.
There's no easy way out, guys. There's no shortcut home.
Oh, man. In the eternal words of Stan Bush.
Listen, if I can change, and you can change.
John
we can all
Caffrey, the
change.
Beaver Brown Band.
All right, so
Dare
it's
to believe you can't
1-1.
survive.
Joe and Mark, Iffy yet to get on the board. Question number 3.
This is yours, brother.
You guys, what movie character would throw the best barbecue in honor of 4th of July BBQs? What movie character, best barbecue? Mark Ellis.
All right, well, in the interest of time, I will allow my fellow competitors to just not wager an argument once they hear my answer because it's the
You're
perfect
allowing them the
movie
opportunity to
character.
forfeit.
Yeah, I mean, we
Okay.
can make the vid a little shorter. Everybody can get back to their week. Mama Clump from The Nutty Professor is the best person to throw a barbecue because she makes the most food. She makes the most delicious food if her family's any indication. And when you have a barbecue, it's not just about making delicious food, although that's a big part of it. It's also about having a family, and it's also about camaraderie and friendship and playful jabs at each other, and that's what the clump dinner scenes bring to the Nutty Professor. That's what's going to be happening at this barbecue. How you're going to have some good old-fashioned family back and forth. It's going to be hilarious. There's going to be some emotions going to run high, but at the end of the day, we're all family, and you're going to feel like family when you join the clumps. A barbecue is a lot more than just who can grill the best food, although I would put Mama Clump in that class. She prepared the food, and she also prepared a family environment that everybody can enjoy. And you look at that dinner table in the Nutty Professor or the buffet scenes in the Nutty Professor 2, the clumps, it's when you get to see a variety of generations and people with different ideals all coming together for the common bond of food. That's what a great barbecue does. That's why Mama Clump is the only correct answer.
Okay, Mark Ellis, Mama Clump.
Sherman.
Back around to Joe Starr.
My vote is Bilbo Baggins. When J.R. Tolkien created the Hobbits, he wrote Hobbits at the top of a piece of paper, and then the next line he wrote was, "These motherfuckers can eat." Eating and preparing good-ass food is what defines hobbits. That's what they do. All these people do is get together for a big-ass party, get a bunch of food together. Bilbo Baggins, if his birthday is any indication, that 4th of July block party barbecue is going to be huge. It's going to be ridiculous. There's going to be Tooks partying. There's going to be Proudfoots partying. This thing is going to be absolutely unforgettable. The best food in the Shire. Everybody's going to be smoking weed, watching fireworks. Bilbo Baggins, man. No contest.
All right, Joe coming in with Bilbo. Iffy.
As the only father on the panel, I guess I have to say I'm the expert on barbecues. And barbecues aren't just grilling. Barbecues aren't just overeating. Barbecue's all about the atmosphere. Barbecue's all about the host and what the host is bringing to the table. The host needs to be flashy, yet concerned. The host needs to be able to grill that meat, and that host needs to have the best grilling technology of all. So why not a host with built-in grilling technology? Why not Johnny Storm from 2005's Fantastic Four? You got a man who's a showboat who would love more than anything.
This torch.
This torch.
All right.
Who would love more than anything than to show off how much he can grill. You got a man exuding with big dick energy. You got a man who's here to not just give you the best grilled food you ever tasted, but to throw the best grilled party you ever had. Not only is he gonna have all the foods, he's gonna have all the drink. And he's even that white homie who has like the Henny, who sees me and is like, I got that Henny. And I'm like, chill, but I'm actually really happy.
Why you got to bring up our shit on here?
Yeah, you're saying he was a little bit presumptuous there.
Yeah. You're like, all right, chill, but you're like, actually.
I just like having black friends, man.
We have some Hennessy in the back. He's got plenty of Hennessy.
Oh, I saved it for just such an occasion. All right, fight it out, fellas. Big dick energy.
Okay,
Right,
I'm gonna kick this off with just saying I was so ready to believe that you have the best pick and you do not.
Thank you.
Mama Clump farts too much. She will be set on fire before
that barbecue is extra.
That barbecue. Also, the Clumps are the family who comes to the barbecue. You're like, oh, here they come. They already making plates. They already making. They made 2 plates. They ain't even ate yet. There's also party. They are that family who, when you were a kid, you're like, I'm gonna just stay in my room and play video games.
Yep.
And that's who's gonna throw the party. I'm not there.
I also have an uncanny valley issue going and hanging out at a barbecue with the Clumps. I will not eat once I notice that all of them look exactly like Eddie Murphy. That's a creepy barbecue. This barbecue takes a dark and sinister turn when you realize that they might all be just like cloned from the same person, or what's going on here at this Clump barbecue. I'm very uncomfortable. Whereas at Bilbo's place, hospitality is key. I'm chilling. I'm eating some barbecue from some meat that was flown in from Gondor, and his homie Gandalf is just throwing off the best fireworks display you've ever seen in your life.
And you had me going, but the one thing a barbecue needs is good music, and I ain't jamming out to some ribs with some fucking elf on the flute. I'm sorry, that's gonna be whack as hell. He's not gonna play Casey and JoJo. He doesn't know how to play that on the flute.
Going on between Joe and Iffy is really okay.
Joe just died.
Yeah, Joe's grabbing
He's
a
back.
bottle of Hennessy to
Off
show
the
off
ropes.
in front of Iffy. Look, here's the real issue here: is that these two picks can contribute to a good barbecue. The Human Torch would be a great grill master. A grill master does not
I disagree
make
on that.
a barbecue. Okay, Human Torch, first of all, he's probably going to burn the place down. We know every 4th of July you hear stories about people who have fireworks and they explode in their hands, and all of a sudden they're not as good at the NFL anymore. And then with Joe Starr's pick, here's the big problem. Yeah, maybe Bilbo's an okay host of a barbecue if he's home. What's the name of the Hobbit movie? An Unexpected Journey. He leaves his house all the time.
Party's
He
still
leaves
dope, though.
for weeks. Okay, Bilbo is not a reliable host, and I have serious sanitary concerns about what goes on in the Shire with those gross feet that they never bother covering. With the Clumps, first of all, if your big argument against Mama Clump hosting a barbecue is that she farts, it's a barbecue. There's going to be gas passed, and it wasn't Mama Clump farting, it was her husband, and she'll just excuse him to the other room. Do not attack Mama Clump and blame all of the sins of the Clump family on Mama Clump. Mama Clump is hosting this barbecue. She is the one that is most suited because she cares about family. She cares about having a good time. She wants everybody well fed. Not everybody, not just people who show up first. The Clumps, and by proxy Mama Clump, are the best overall barbecue experience.
See, the Clumps are just all about. Can you imagine just sitting at that table while they all do like they're so, like I'm glad they love each other. I'm glad they get along. But you are an outsider at that table. Yeah. You're not in their inside jokes. You're not in that rhythm. You're not in their banter. You're an outsider. You don't feel welcome. Everybody feels welcome at Bilbo Baggins' barbecue. You guys, it's kind of look. The reason turkey legs are good as hell at a Renfest and at Disney for a reason, and Bilbo Baggins' place is just going to be barbecue turkey legs for days. It's going to be amazing. Look, Human Torch, yeah, he's made a fire, but that doesn't mean he can cook. I know how to hold a lighter to a spray paint can and make a fucking fireball. That doesn't mean I can cook a chicken.
Yeah, but see, the thing about the Human Torch is that's why I mentioned that he's a showboat. He's learned this. He's tested this out. He's just going to throw the party and be like, I guess I can do it. No, that boy, like I said, has big dick energy. He has been planning this. This is how he's about to lay whoever comes down. He's inviting his crush along with all his friends. He's not going into this just like a bumbling fool. He's planned this out. Now let me talk about your world as a whole. First of all, this is a world where people got invisible rings. People got beasts that they slice people at the table. I'm not trying to be eating ribs and seeing somebody get stabbed.
Not at the Shire. Everything's cool at the Shire.
Nah, that's what people say when things are not cool. Everything's cool. Yeah, everything's cool at my mom's house until my stepdad comes by. Then what happens? We don't know, but we can't tell anybody.
Worst thing that's happened at Bilbo's house is he leaves a little early. That's it. That's the worst thing. And then everybody just chills with their pipe weed and their turkey legs watching dope fireworks.
He leaves a little early, man. When he comes back. When does he come back? Because who knows? He just got sent on some magical mission. And now we're sitting here with cold ribs. Nobody knows to go to the grill and flip it. That's burnt meat right there.
Mama Clump knows how to go to a grill and flip it. Human Torch can turn into fire. That's awesome. How I have serious safety concerns about both of these barbecue hosts because Human Torch could have a couple beers and all of a sudden he's puffing up and down. He can't control himself. And when we go to Middle Earth, like if he said, magic rings are involved that make people all power hungry. The worst thing that would happen at a Clump's barbecue is two family members get into a shouting match. The worst thing that happens at a Lord of the Rings barbecue is that Sauron gets wind of it, sends his minions, and the next thing you know, Hobbit, death everywhere. That's a weird barbecue to go to.
I'm going to correct you because that is not the worst thing that can happen at a Clump's barbecue. What can happen at a Clump's barbecue is Uncle Rennie could come by and Uncle Rennie been staring at Auntie Tisha for a minute. So then now Uncle Rennie gets drunk and Auntie Tisha and Uncle Rennie are throwing bows. What is Mama Clump going to do? She's going to kick everybody out and you don't even get to finish the barbecue.
These are not characters in the film.
These are characters.
These are not
Clump canon? Are these Clump canon?
These are not Clump canon.
They're not Clump canon.
Check the Clump fandom, Dan.
These are not Clump canon. These are not Clump canon, but every black family has an Auntie Tisha and an Uncle Rennie. So,
well, I am not a racist, sir. I am not labeling every family just exactly like the Clumps. The Clumps are their own thing that exists.
Take a look at me. I'm speaking from knowledge and truth, buddy. I'm speaking from knowledge and truth. And if you need another look at this chocolatiness, you can just look at it even longer.
Time! All right,
A
wow.
lot of big dick energy.
Oh, big dick energy, 3 piping hot barbecues. Dan, facts, were there any?
What is
There
it?
were a couple. We're actually going If you can remember way back before this round started, Joe said the song "No Easy Way Out" was quoted, and Joe said in the immortal words of Stan Bush. Robert Tepper actually performed it.
Thank you. You're right.
Stan
You are
Bush
right.
did the touch from the Transformers movie.
Oh, yeah,
And
John Cafferty
he did do a
was
Rocky
Hearts
song
on
though.
Fire.
He did. Yeah. Man,
Right,
you're right. I
right,
apologize, Dan.
I know that we got into canon and non-canon clump things. However, I believe, and I've tried to confirm as much as I can through the clips of the movie that I found while this invitation was going on, while Mama Clump did indeed start the farting at the dinner table, it was not by herself farting. She mentioned getting her colon cleansed, which then led the rest of the family to begin farting. So I don't know if her flatulence
Hilarious time at the
itself is necessarily what you're worried about, although it is a very flatulent family,
We're doing
as
poor
we've
gotcha.
seen now in
Show.
two Nutty Professor.
Everybody in this room acting like they don't fart.
Oh no,
I am only
I took a
concerned
dump in
with
this
whether or
onesie
not
during this
Mama
round.
Clump canonically farts.
yes, that
Mark,
was
that
the
job.
only question at hand here.
He's a
We all
professional.
fart.
We're not
We all
gonna
fart.
look.
I am the Robert Mueller of deciding which family member has farted and has not farted.
He has
Do
a
not
task, and he will
disparage a
complete that
Dan's
task. All right, let's start with as far as weighing in on the match, Danielle Radford.
Oh my goodness. Okay, all of these were such fantastic arguments. Mark, your arguments were great, but I have to say, as soon as you said emotions running high, I was like, no, that is literally why I don't go home for Thanksgiving anymore. The food is great. It's the best food I'll ever have. I will never be there anymore. I don't need to watch my relatives fight over things that happened 20 years ago because everyone got a little too liquored up. So I'm sorry, Mark, I love you, but that one just kind of, maybe that's personal. I'm going to go ahead and count it. Bilbo Baggins was great, but I have to say that Iffy, when he mentioned, which Mark kind of set him up for, was that Bilbo's never going to be around, and then Iffy was like, who gonna flip the meat? And I was like, who is gonna flip the meat? Who
Some
does know how
dude
to
he
flip
hired
the
with
meat?
troll money.
And yeah, no, and I do agree that there's bad things that could happen there. There's bad things happening over there. Human Torch, Big Dad energy. I got to go with Iffy NWADIWE.
All right, that's one for Iffy. I'll weigh in. So yeah, 3 pretty cool pictures of barbecues. Mark was really selling me on that, but they got him with, man, the clumps are gonna just clean up. They're gonna have, I think Iffy said that they're gonna have 2 plates before the thing even started.
That's a true story,
I
by the
hope I
way.
get a little mac and cheese. Please leave me a morsel of mac and cheese. And also that,
No.
I mean, if the farting is so epic, it's gonna bring down the room.
Fat shaming at this studio right now. Nobody here farts. Nobody here overeats. If he's now a father, so his entire world perspective has changed. It has. As a father, I care about barbecues more.
If he's defense made for a good offense here, because I mean, yeah, the music at the Middle Earth barbecue, the whack ass flute, yeah, no bueno.
Yeah, it's all he's
no
got.
bueno.
Yeah.
Can somebody plug in their iPod? No, they don't even have electricity. Yeah, you're gonna have to settle for that flute, and then when the ring rates come by, oh, there's an unpleasant guest.
They gotta get through Rohan and Bree before they can even get to the Shire. And Aragorn's Rangers are brought to the border.
So,
God!
Dick
energy.
Yeah, I gotta go Iffy on this. Gotta go Iffy. Iffy gets the point, and that means we have a 3-way tie. So we're gonna go to our tiebreaker, JT. Tiebreaker.
So
All right.
a little bigger there, but that's all right.
Tiebreaker. Okay. So this will work a la the speed round. I will ask the question. First person to answer will go first. Second person to answer goes second. Third. And then you'll each get 20 seconds, starting with the first person to answer. And then after everyone gets 20, we'll each get a 10-second rebut. And then Dan, Danielle, and myself will decide who does not move on. We will weigh in on the third best answer of the 3, and that person will sit out the speed round. Here is the question. Y'all ready for this? I will take that as an affirmative. Cease and desist. Great.
Literally, we just got a cease and desist.
Y'all cease and
Fellas,
desist.
okay. So many great movie presidents. So many great. Just a 4th of July make me thinking about that. But movie presidents aside, what movie character would make the all-time worst U.S. president? What movie character would make the worst president of all time?
Slimer from Ghostbusters.
Slimer.
Janosch from Ghostbusters 2.
Janosch. Ghostbusters 2.
Gonna go with President Camacho from Idiocracy.
Prez Camacho. Terry Crews, Idiocracy. Okay, so we'll hear from Mark, and then Joe, and then Iffy. Mark, 20 seconds begin whenever you speak.
Well, Slimer would make the worst U.S. president because he's not a person. He's a disembodied spirit that floats around, and the only way he really manifests in the physical world is to drive cars erratically and eat hot dogs. So I think Slimer has no stance on foreign or domestic policy. I think Slimer's a horrible leader for the rest of us, and I can't stress this enough how he's naked. He literally would be giving naked green speeches.
Joe, whenever you ready, begin speaking. 20 seconds begin.
I think Slimer's aggressive and he knows what he wants, and that makes a good leader. Janosch, meanwhile, is kind of spineless. He's not really able to make his own decisions. He's a yes man to a larger sort of evil. He'll just sort of bend over to whatever you want him to do. He can't make decisions on his own. He kidnapped a baby once. That's not a good look. And he can't take hints when Dana's not into him, and his eyes glow sometimes.
All right, Iffy, 20 seconds begin whenever you speak.
President Camacho would be the worst president because out of all these three, he's the only one who could actually run and probably win in this climate. And that's what makes him scary. He's gonna be basically doing everything that we've had and just breaking down everything. I haven't really said words because it's just such a scary thought. But has the platform to win.
10-second rebuttal.
Slimer has no political experience whatsoever. At least Camacho has that, and Janosch actually went through a bad experience, but came out better on the other side at the end of Ghostbusters 2, so he'll be a better leader than Slimer going forward.
One moment does not a complete character change make. Camacho, a black guy that loves guns, could really bring together a lot of communities in this country, so that sort of makes him a solid leader. But again, Janosch kidnapped a baby one time. He's very nebbish. He doesn't have confidence to be a public speaker.
NRA TV has a black guy who loves gun, and it does not unite us at all. And like I said, Camacho's the only one who can actually be president because he's the only human of the three. End point.
Time. All right. Let's start with Dan Merle.
I thought that the non-corporeality of Mark's choice might be used for or against Slimer, but really it was pretty even going into the rebuttal round. I do feel like I'm definitely going to not eliminate Iffy in my mind, because I think that the only person that could actually get elected is a pretty strong point, and I thought he rebutted the other arguments well. So Iffy goes through in my mind, and I believe that Mark also made a better rebuttal. So my non-point, my non-point, or do I give a point?
Your non-point.
My non-point goes to Joe. I would eliminate Joe from the contention.
All
That's
right.
the first time you've said that to me, Dan.
Joe, and you know what? I'm going to agree with Dan on that. I felt like, Iffy had a nice rebuttal there as well, and Mark was just like had the most passionate, impactful answer. Joe, well fought, well played, but we're moving on to the speed round without you, sir. Let's all salute Joe STARR.
It's a real American now.
Thank you. All right.
Real American.
So
I've been
there
sitting on
we
that
have
Slimer
it.
argument for a long time.
Yep. I could tell you had that one in your back pocket.
You should have said he's the pawn of a Carpathian. And you don't want a Carpathian. Son of a bitch.
All right.
He is Vigo.
Why am I drippings with goo?
That was my first to Ghostbusters, you guys.
Oh, wow.
That was a Danielle puzzle piece.
That's my Ghostbusters.
Just
there you
learned a
go.
thing.
Hashtag not my Ghostbuster.
Okay, so it is 1-1 going into the speed round, and now it is anybody's game. Mark, Iffy, here we go. Gentlemen, are you ready? You know the rules. 20 seconds, 20 seconds, 10 second, 10 second. Okay, first person to speak gets
Big dick energy, big dick energy.
All right. Here we go. First question of the speed round. What movie character would you hire to design your fireworks display?
Rocket Raccoon.
Tony Stark.
Rocket Raccoon, Tony Stark. Iffy, you spoke first. 20 seconds begin when you speak now.
Rocket Raccoon would be the best because he's going to do whatever it takes for the best show, whether it be illegal, whether it be intergalactically illegal, and he's going to go and find it, and he's going to go big. Plus, he already knows Demolition pretty well, so I can trust that he's going to have the things that really knock it out the park, make it boom, make it zoom, make it loom.
Those do rhyme, but Tony Stark is an expert in explosives and aerodynamic technology, so Tony Stark is going to be able to pull off the best fireworks show, and we have actual evidence on celluloid of Tony Stark doing that from the very first Iron Man. Tony Stark is a guy who knows how to be innovative, and in the world of fireworks, that makes your display stand apart. Plus, he knows Earth's gravity a lot better than Rocket Raccoon.
True, but Iron Man 1 was a long time ago, and he gave that up. That was actually the whole plot of Iron Man 1, so he's probably going to be rusty. Meanwhile, Rocket Raccoon is still blowing stuff up, even his friends sometimes, and it looks fun.
Rocket Raccoon is going to be a very dangerous fireworks display, and safety is key. Rocket Raccoon is good at collecting guns, not necessarily fireworks. Tony Stark has made fireworks go off at his presentations. He knows how to do it.
Time. Okay, wow. Yeah, just as far as I think you knocked him down with it being dangerous, and Tony Stark knows the Earth's gravity, and he knows the planet. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Mark on that. Danielle Radford.
I love you, but you really messed yourself up when you said that Rocket was gonna blow his friends up. Not blowing people up is literally like the only job you have at a fireworks display. No one cares if the firework doesn't go off, but if you blow someone up, everyone cares. So you kind of made Mark's point for him, and then he drove it home. I love you, babe.
All right,
I care if the firework doesn't go off, because doesn't that kind of mean you don't get what you came for?
Do you care about that more, or about someone straight up being murdered?
Yeah.
Who is it?
Well, given those two options, then obviously, I mean, just saying.
Dan, what's better? Oh, we go home. We went home afterwards. Nothing happened. We just had a drink. Or our friends died. Yeah. So.
I could say Rocket Raccoon would be a much better Statue of Liberty than that.
RoboCop would be the best Statue of Liberty, by the way. Where's Detroit? Okay.
Detroit.
Pro at 209.
All right, it is 2-1. It is 2-1 Mark Ellis going into question 2 of the speed round. Here we go. What movie creature should replace the bald eagle as the icon of America?
Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, no.
The Owls of Ga'Hoole.
Owls of Ga'Hoole, Legend of the Guardians. Who do you pick, Iffy? I deserve it.
You know what? I'm going with Pikachu from the Pokemon movie.
Pikachu. All right, Pika. All right, Mark Ellis spoke first. 20 seconds begin when you speak now. Owls of Ga'Hoole.
Well, you want something to recapture the majestic flight of an eagle as your representative, and the owls not only capture that, they also have the ability to speak, so they can actually say things that are powerful and present and relevant to our current times. Plus, they can soar through the air, and they're called the Legend of they defend wherever they are, whether it's Ga'Hoole or the United States of America.
While flight would be nice, owls are creepy. Talking owls, even more creepy. Pikachu is cute, and he stands by his partner's side in the face of evil, which is, what's more American than that? That's the symbol we need, who's gonna stand there, and even when you kinda die and turn and rock, your tears will bring you back to the fight, so you can turn around and fight Mewtwo. That's what Pikachu represents, cute but sparky.
Al, I know Ga'Hoole isn't necessarily in America, but I think they're a better symbol for America than a Japanese-created thing. That would be the final nail in the coffin for a Japanese takeover of America. That's not what we want. We want a bird that represents freedom, the Owls of Ga'Hoole.
On the long list of nations taking over America, Japan is very low on that list, so I'm gonna just start off with that. Secondly, like I said, owls are creepy. Those things can turn their heads all the way around. I don't even know why I tried.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow. Dan Merle.
I did not realize there was an impending Japanese invasion of America. I think that was
You don't watch the right YouTube channel.
several decades ago.
And then like baseball saved it.
Yeah.
And then Michael
I
Keaton
think
got along with an auto dealer.
I think I edged toward iffy just for the passionate speech about friendship and even if you're defeated, that your companion's tears will bring you back to life. That's a very inspiring and rousing sentiment, and I believe that I'm going to side with iffy on this one.
Okay, Dan picks Pikachu. Danielle.
Pikachu, I choose you.
Yes.
Clip it. I lost my arguments. So, as great as the argument American thing, not Japanese thing is, all it did was remind me about the, which I believe was something you actually brought up earlier, and someone can fact check it when they go back later, which was that the Statue of Liberty was a thing that was brought to us by France, which was an argument that was made literally earlier in the show by one of y'all.
I don't think I said that.
So it did remind me of that. So I gotta go with iffy.
All right, we're all tied up at 2-2. This is a great moment in sports. Question number 3 of the speed round.
Was that your Al impression?
Yeah. Yes.
What filmmaker deserves to be on the $100 bill instead of that jerk Ben Franklin who wasn't even a real president? That's what it says here in parentheses.
Steven Spielberg.
What filmmaker should be on the $100 bill instead of founding father Ben Franklin?
Steven Spielberg.
Steven Spielberg. Iffy.
Just gonna take the best one right out the gate, huh?
You took my house from me. I love those things.
Okay. Greta Gerwig.
Greta Gerwig. All right, Steven Spielberg, Greta Gerwig. Mark Ellis, 20 seconds.
To represent the $100 bill, you want somebody that has a storied history in America, and nobody, as far as a filmmaker, represents that better than perhaps Steven Spielberg, who's made all sorts of great movies, smaller movies that have a really heartfelt story, huge, giant blockbusters that are beloved throughout the generations, and Steven Spielberg's movies have made a lot of $100 bills, so I think it's only fitting and natural he's the one on it.
That is an amazing point, and I truly believe it. But I think if we're changing the $100 bill now, we have to really capture something that is now, and that is the progressive state of America, that we're moving forward, we're ever changing, and just like the film industry, I think Greta Gerwig represents that this is going to change. It is no longer going to be just male dominated. We're going to stand by side, no matter what other race, color, creed. We're going to make good movies.
I think if that was your impetus for change on the $100 bill, there's better filmmakers out there to go with, either Ava DuVernay or Patty Jenkins. But if you want the best filmmaker to represent the best means of currency in America, Steven Spielberg has the lineage.
I will argue that you can make that point, but film is subjective, so some people may think Greta Gerwig is as good. Also, she has made the biggest impact, and I think in the past 5 years, so that's why I went with Greta Gerwig.
Time. All
That was
right.
very debate school. That was very high school.
Wow. Yes. Well played, gentlemen, both of you. Let's start with Danielle Radford.
I love this because as I'm typing it, I'm like remembering I have all these transcription skills. So I'm like typing as you're talking. Make me feel good about myself, which is why I love you. This is really hard. There were great arguments from both of you. I will say that what was the exact title of the round?
Well, here's the question. What filmmaker deserves to be on the $100 bill?
Okay. Wow. I have to say that Mike's argument that if you are going Mark's. Sorry, I'm the worst. I'm going to say that.
We've broken bed many times.
Yeah, we are literally buds, and I'm a terrible person. I'm going to say that Mark's argument about how if you are going to go with a female filmmaker, there are other better ones to go with, I do have to agree with, so I've got to give this one to Mark. Based on the arguments.
Why do you act like you hate it so much when you give me a point? I hate this guy so much, but I have to give him a point.
You're such a fan favorite.
Experts call it Joe Starr syndrome when I've won something, and they're like,
Iffy, I thought you bit off a lot when you chose Greta Gerwig, but your argument really opened my eyes and made me think, damn, Iffy's making a point. But I think Mark...
Greta with that BDE.
But I think Mark parried there and took the point for me. So, Mark, you get that point with Senor Spielbergo. Okay.
I think the real revelation in that round is Lon Harris's apparent grudge against Benjamin Franklin.
I think
He wasn't
Lon Harris
pretending
has
to be a
flown
president. I
many
don't think he
kites with
claimed
keys
to be.
attached to it in the rain.
Yeah.
And Lon Harris, not the same amount of luck with his key kite flying.
Yeah, what's he got
with Ben
against
Franklin.
noted bon vivant Ben Franklin? All right. Question number 4. By the way, this is game point for Mark Ellis. Iffy, you need this to tie it up and take it to a final question. What is the best movie ever made about a U.S. president, real or fictional?
Oh.
Okay.
Best movie about a U.S. president, real or fictional?
Don't go with that one.
Why is Joe trying to get into people's heads?
I'm going to say Dave.
Ooh.
Dave. Kevin Kline?
Kevin Kline? Sigourney Weaver?
I'm gonna say Air Force One.
Ooh.
All right.
He was hype man? Yeah.
All right. We have Klein versus Ford, Dave versus Air Force One. Mark Ellis spoke first. 20 seconds begin when you speak now.
Well, both these movies are clearly in the realm of fiction, but Dave is a great representative of what America's best ideals are. That's why it's the best movie about an American president. It's because Dave is a guy who really comes from nothing. He happens to look like the guy, so all of a sudden he gets to sit in the chair and he realizes that with this power, you can do good instead of bad, and he works his darndest using the skills at his disposal to make that happen, and we get some good laughs along the way.
The thing I like about Air Force One is because I always thought, ever since I was a little kid, what would it be like if my president kicked ass? And Air Force One answered that question. I think that's what we need to see more of. I mean, we got all the biopics, so if we're gonna keep it fictional, why don't we have a kick-ass president like President Camacho, like I mentioned earlier? Bring more kick-ass presidents, and that's my argument.
I think that Air Force One's awesome, but Air Force One is an action movie that happens to have a president in it where the president and the presidency and the way that politics are run is the central theme of Dave, whereas it's just a side character in Air Force One.
I mean, I felt like you said a lot of words to describe a boring movie, where like Air Force One is just a tight ass movie, and yeah, it doesn't follow politics because that shit is boring. What's tight? Kicking somebody off a plane and saying, "Get off my plane." Woo!
Time. Wow. How about it? How about it?
That was a sneaky counter, Ellis.
Yeah.
Let's go with Dan Merle.
The question.
I will agree that Air Force One is a tight ass movie.
It's got the tightest ass of any.
I don't think that's in question, and I don't want my decision to do a referendum on that point. Having said that, I believe that Mark made the more coherent argument about why it tied into the presidency, to the country itself, other than the fact that Air Force One, again, is a tight-ass movie. I'm going to go with Mark on this.
All right, that's one for Mark. Yeah, I was a little disappointed that no one picked the correct answer, Frost Nixon. But that
flick.
aside, very enjoyable. Frank
Is there a
Langella,
movie where a
excellent.
kid becomes the president? Like a blank check, but
Yes,
the
Little
president?
Big League.
There's First Kid with Sinbad.
Oh,
That's
First
about
Kid,
the First Kid.
That would have been a strong choice, perhaps. But I thought Mark laid out just a poignant breakdown of what made Kevin Kline's character and just thoughtful and accessible, and I really dug your opening round. I felt like nothing superseded that afterwards. So, Mark, I also give you the point. Mark Ellis takes the day.
Oh, thank you for that hearty round of applause. gentlemen, I would like to thank my competitors here because America, it's all about good-spirited competition.
right.
I love Joe Starr. I love Iffy. You guys really, you talk about a tight-ass movie with Air Force One. These guys, two of the firmest buttocks you'll ever feel.
That's true.
Mark, thank you so much. And Friday night, Comic-Con, American Comedy Company.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
Good times.
very excited to do that show with a lot of cool special guests. You can get tickets at markellislive.com, promo code SCHMOES.
Hell yeah. Mark Ellis, well fought,
Thank you, sir.
funny, factual, well, somewhat, according to Dan, and all sorts of good stuff. Background to Joe Starr.
Hal, thanks for having me.
Of course.
It's always a pleasure to walk 5 feet over to the studio. And
In that suit, no
Can
less.
you come
this
around to the
outfit.
front and show us
Yeah,
the full
please.
Yes,
onesie?
please.
Yeah.
Do a little circle.
Oh, yeah.
You are so the dad to his son. Hey, son, come show the kids. Hey, look at my kid.
Look at my kid's outfit.
It's so good.
Literally, as soon as he's out of frame is when his shorts end too. So you get some good Joe Starr calf action in there as well.
And I've been working on them. Look, it's 4th of July, guys. All my arguments are about community and stepping up. And so it's 4th of July. Do so. My suggestion is donate to RISIS. It's the largest nonprofit immigration legal service in the country. And if that's something where you're like, well, there's all sorts of other things. Why this particular issue? All you care about is hot button things. Pick one. Pick something in your community, whether that's locally, nationally. Donate your time, donate money. That's what this is supposed to be about.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Iffy, really funny and well fought today.
Thank you.
Close one. Go ahead and plug some stuff.
Oh yeah, so definitely Iffy WADIWE, IFYO, it's right there. You can find that handle on Instagram and Twitter. I'll be having a show at the Dynasty Typewriter called Afrofunk, which is going to be July 12th at 10 p.m. Dynasty Typewriter. Look it up on the internet. We're going to have Byron Bowers, Dulce Sloan, Opie Olugbayu, and Maggie May. So it's going to be a fun lineup. We're doing lots of stand-up and fun stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a super cool new theater in Los Angeles, and that sounds excellent. Thank you, sir. Always great to have you. Dan Merle.
Yes, sir.
Oh, thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
Any exciting news, announcements, upcoming movies you're excited about?
Oh wow, so many of those things.
Yeah.
No, just watch. I feel like I leave it all out on the field here. Watch us here on Screen Junkies and Screen Junkies News. We're always covering the new stuff, and there is one coming out this weekend in limited release. Mm-hmm. If Sorry to Bother You is playing near you, I'm not sure what the rollout strategy is, but I will guarantee you one thing. It's going to be the most unique movie you see this year, and that makes it worth a watch, no matter what, in my book. So if it's playing around you and you like to be challenged by movies and you like to see something different and unique, go see Sorry to Bother You if it's playing near you, because you all
Excellent.
those things.
Yeah, it's the top of my list. I can't wait to
100%.
see it.
Yeah, 100%. I definitely agree.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dan. Danielle Radford.
Hello, as per usual, follow me on the socials. On Twitter, I'm just Danielle Radford. On Insta, I am Danielle_Radford. Please you guys have been really into Bubble, and that has been like super nice and cool. So yeah, keep watching Bubble, and I'm working on some stuff that hopefully she'll be coming out. So yeah, if you keep on my social medias, you can keep up with all of the things that I am trying to work on.
Excellent. Danielle, thank you as always. Corgis for life. And
Corgis
I
for
want to
life.
thank I want to thank you for watching. Yes, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Hal Rudnick. And yeah, I really appreciate Joe Starr's message. That really touched me. I'll second that and say think of people who are less fortunate. I mean, regardless of your situation, there's always someone that's got it worse. And if you could give a little something, man, that I don't think we say that enough. So I really appreciate that. I hope you had a great Independence Day in America and outside of America. And thanks again for watching Movie Fights. See you next time. Bye-bye.